The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will be live.
Greetings, my fellow warriors, boy Meckanimal, and today we're going to talk about shoulder flexion. Shoulder flexion, mobility of the shoulder in the flexion position is really important when it comes to a lot of the calisthenics movement and gymnastic skills. So for that matter, I'm going to teach you guys a basic and simple exercise that you can introduce at the beginning of your warm-up, of your workout during the warm-up, in order to facilitate, your shoulder performance and increase the range of motion into your shoulder in aspect of flexion position. So the movement is going to be called the ring dog. I'm not sure whether it's a conventional name or not, but it is kind of a wall dog. But in this instance, we're going to be performing them on the ring. So for the sake of it, I'm going to name it a ring dog. Kind of sound cool when you think about it. And like any movement in calisthenics or gymnastics, you're gonna have an intense version and a less intense version. That's like a regression of the movement. So I'm gonna start with the regression first. This is gonna be the simplest way to start. You're gonna start by grabbing the ring here and then step back and sink your chest down into the floor. Sink your chest down into the floor. Grab the ring in a neutral position if possible, and sink your chest down into the floor. So you start with that first. So what you want to remember is the lever is broken around the hip, right? You drop your hips and you align your shoulder, your elbow, and your wrist along with your hip. You want to make sure that you sink your chest all the way down into the ground and facilitating the alignment of your hip, your shoulder, elbow, and wrist. So again, I'm going to start up here, step back, and then drop, and then sink your chest into the floor by opening those shoulders right there. So you want to be, I like to play dynamic, so I want to go for some pulsation of the within the movement. So it's up to you depending on how you feel that day. I like to go for 3 seconds down and then pulsating up, 3 seconds down, pulsating up. It helps with getting the blood flow into the shoulder, especially if it is performed at the beginning of your workout. So right here, I'll pulsate right here and come up. 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 You pulsate between 3 and 5 repetitions, and then you come up and then you reset. Do some other exercise that you can superset them with. And some of my favorite superset that I like to use is doing that with a hang. You get some pulsation, opening your shoulder, and then you hang on the bar on a dead hang. A passive hang, not an active, because an active hang will kind of be counterproductive in loosening up your shoulder, connective tissue. So you want to superset that with a passive hang, for example, on the ball or on the ring. If you only have access to the ring, it all works. And next, I'm going to show you the most intense one, the one that actually, when you have strong shoulders already, you can subject your body to. So this position, I'm gonna step forward here, slide forward, extend my leg in a way that you perform a hollow body. So from that hollow position, I want you to pulsate 1, open, 2, open, 3, open, 4, open, 5. So for that, for example, instead of holding 3 seconds, because it's so taxing, you can just pulsate every second, because the whole point of it is to open your shoulder, right? So it's not like a strength routine necessarily. So you want to limit the expenditure of your energy during the performance of it. And because you're extending the lever, it's so much more it's so much harder for you to hold a longer time. Even if you can, it will still not be a good idea unless that session is specifically dedicated to that. When it is specifically dedicated to that, then it is fine to just go and have longer pause. But if it is performed at the beginning of a workout as a warm up, the pulsation is just good enough. It's a second. So yes, that's that. If it's a warm up, feel free to pulsate as fast as you can. If it's a dedicated workout to that exercise itself, then feel free to stay longer. So let me go back to the modified version. Again, most people will be using the modified version of the Ring Dog, and because it's not so demanding on the core, and if it was up to the best suggestion, I would suggest to just stick to the modified version, because the extended version may be really taxing on your shoulder and is really demanding on your core and your body awareness through space. I'm just giving you the full extent of the variation, so that I leave the choice to you to perform when it's time to do so, and maybe in the future when you get stronger, something that you can scale up to reach your goal. So again, back to the modified version. Grab it, step down, step back here. Feel free to shift the weight on your toes so that you can load up the ring as much as possible. And again, grab the ring on the force grip so that you don't break the kinetic connection between all your joints. Okay, doing it neutral will be pretty fine if you don't have the ability to hold a force grip. So from here, sink your chest into the shoulders right there, and then feel free to shift the weight on your toes, and then protract, open again, protract, open again, protract. Okay, so that's the modified version. The full version will be this. Yeah, right there, right there, and right there. So you see, pretty straightforward. Modify a full extent. Full extent will be more like a whole body that you're moving really hard to do. And I would also like to add that to bridge the gap between the basic version and the very intense full whole body version, you could step forward, slide the ring forward, and maintain the full body right here. So that's one way to bridge the gap between the basic version and the really intense version, where you have to step back. Instead of stepping back, you keep your feet the same level and you slide the ring forward to be able to make it much easier. Like right here. Much easier because I can talk now. And that's that. I think now I've covered all versions, and so like I said, just do the modified version. It's pretty good for the shoulder extension, the shoulder flexion, and that shoulder flexion is pretty needed for skill like handstand. And a lot of people are really stuck at producing the best results for the handstand because they lack that shoulder mobility, and until you unlock it, it will be stuck at performing much harder, required to produce much more force than required if you had a better mobility in your shoulder. So it's very hard to align yourself to hold a handstand if you don't have that mobility. Otherwise, you'll be slanted and you're kind of working on the planche, somewhat a planche, as opposed to something simpler. That's the regular handstand. So I would suggest people to really work on the shoulder mobility, the shoulder flexion, if you are one of those who want to master the handstand. And also, you have a whole a variety of other drills to work on that shoulder flexion, but this is one with the rings that you can perform anytime you have the ring around you. And as I'm performing a series for the rings, I just thought it would be suitable to show you guys how to work that shoulder flexion, given that I've already done one for the shoulder extension using the ring. So that's that. Like, comment, and subscribe. It helps with the algorithm. When you like, doesn't mean that you concur with what I said or all I said. It just means that you appreciate the content and looking forward for more. Everything is and will always be the Meckanimal way. Salute. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Like. Peace.
The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will be live.